Alright, lawyers, guns, and money. And we'll find out who that was in just a little bit here. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. Welcome to another Friday Night Boogie, Part 4. I'm Rockin' Randy, and of course with me is...
Boo! Amazing Moondog!
Moondog is right. Thank you for all the listeners for tuning in. We got a great night lined up for you. Lots of good tunes, lots of toe-tapping, lots of everything else. Some zany stuff, not so zany stuff, some serious and not so serious stuff. Anyway, Moondog, tell us a little about the band of the first song that we played. And who's going on with that?
Yes, that brings us to our spotlight artist for this evening is Warren Zevon. He was just an amazing musician, an amazing songwriter, just an amazing storyteller is what he really was. And that's kind of a theme we might be touching on a few times tonight. But yeah, that was Lawyers, Guns, and Money, one of my favorite tunes by Warren Zevon. It's a great way to kick off the show, Randy.
Thank you very much, Moondog. I agree. And people may not agree, but we're going to kick off the show with a newer song. Keep with new times before we get back to the oldies. Lady Gaga on R&J's Classic Mix. Non-stop mixing on R&J's Classic Mix. Lost in a little peace of mind. I think we all get a little peace of mind when it comes to the weekend. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. I'm Rockin' Randy, and with me in the background...
Oh, Moondog!
Moondog is right. Now, I do have some good news or reconcile. I can't say the word. Reconcile news? Make people feel better. Anyway, for all you Leaf fans that are still kind of mourning over the loss of not making the playoffs, just think back as we look at this day in history, April 25th. Well, back in 64, guess what? Your Maple Leafs won their third cup in a row as they beat the Red Wings 4-0. Moondog, how long do you think it'll be before they win the next one?
I don't know. Not too long, maybe.
Not too long.
At least next year, maybe?
Right. Hey, and back in 1947, Harry Truman had the first bowling alley in the White House opened up.
Right?
Now we know what presidents and their staff do in their spare time. And last but not least, if you have any old books laying around the house, you may not have as old one as Robinson Crusoe, published back in 1719. If any of our listeners out there have any other stories from this day in history they'd like to share, hey, drop us a line in the chat room. We may ignore them, but hey, you just never know. We may answer them too. You're listening to RJ's Classic Mix, Rockin' Randy, and the Amazing Moondog, and let's get back to some music.
Listening to R&J's Classic Mix reminds me of a gathering of immortals. There can be only one choice for good music.
What did you say?
I want it all.
And when do you want it?
I want it now.
Then you can have it all on R&J's Classic Mix. And now, with the latest in news and weather, here's Norman Herman and Dr. Strangelove, only on the Mix.
Good evening, this is Norman Herman reporting. Students at an Orillia, Ontario high school were ordered to stay under classrooms while emergency crews dealt with a 600-pound female moose that wandered onto the school grounds. The moose was eventually coerced off the property. One student mused, "How Canadian is this? In the States, they get walked down for bomb threats, and we get walked down for a moose." The mayor's office in Niagara Falls, Ontario had some excitement this week as a topless woman walked in and demanded to speak with the mayor. Apparently, she stopped in to visit before, but the mayor is always out. Mayor Jim Diodati agreed to meet with her to discuss her views on issues dealing with sex trade workers in the region. On the requirement, she make an official appointment and wear clothing. Also this week, rock and roll musician Jack White accomplished quite a feat when he recorded the world's fastest record to promote Record Store Day. He accomplished this trick in 3 hours, 55 minutes, and 21 seconds. That includes performing, recording, mixing, and sending the recording to be pressed in vinyl to be sold to fans. Love to see what you got planned for next year, Jack. That's all for now. Norman Herman reporting for R&J's Classic Mix.
Good evening, everybody. It's Dr. Strangelove, R&J's Classic Mix weather specialist. Starting on the west coast, Victoria and Vancouver will both be 12 degrees and sunny. Edmonton and Calgary both 6 degrees. Edmonton will be overcast. Calgary, partly cloudy. Oh, Saskatoon is kind of rather chilly. It's going to be 2 degrees tomorrow and showers there. Oh, much better in Regina, though. 11 degrees and partly cloudy. Oh, Winnipeg, 6 degrees and cloudy. And here in Ontario, oh, very, very, very nice in Kingston and the region. 12 degrees and partly cloudy. Montreal, Quebec would be 8 degrees and cloudy. And looking over onto the east coast, we've got temperatures ranging all over the place from 3 degrees to 12 degrees and pretty much rainy everywhere. So, better luck next time, East Coast. That's all for now. Goodbye.
Looking for the right blend?
It goes around the world just
I'm a traveling man, made a lot of stops.
So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Here I am, rock you like a hurricane.
R&J's Classic Mix. Mixing a bit of everything to give you the right blend. All right, Toby Keith, get drunk and be somebody. We may not all have to get drunk to be somebody, but it always seems to be the plan for most people coming into the weekend. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. Rockin' Randy and
The Amazing Moondog.
glad you could join us on a Friday night Boogie Part 4 as we continue our adventure into the internet radio world. Now, one of the things we like to do is play requests. And we did play one earlier by Meatloaf. That one goes out to James and Cheryl. And guess what? This one goes out to you too. Keep those requests coming. R&J's Classic Mix. And now, it's time for another review with the Amazing Moondog.
Howdy folks, Moondog here. This week, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly takes a look at The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug on Blu-ray. Peter Jackson's latest foray into Middle-earth follows Bilbo Baggins and Thorin Oakenshield's band of dwarves through Mirkwood Forest to Lake Town and into the heart of the Lonely Mountain itself. So, what's good? I'm going to lump acting, directing, photography, and special effects all into one category this time and call it storytelling. Peter Jackson is a master at telling a story visually, and he brings all the elements together in this one. Martin Freeman's performance as Bilbo Baggins reveals a few more layers, and the action proves why the dwarves really do need their halfling burglar. The combination of motion capture CGI and the menacing presence of Benedict Cumberbatch made the classic encounter between Bilbo and the dragon Smaug truly come to life. You can bet I'll be first in line this December for the third installment, The Battle of the Five Armies. Up next, what's bad? Well, the problem I had with this movie is a similar one I had with the first installment. Unlike the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was originally one story told in 3 parts, The Hobbit is one story stretched out into 3 parts. And at times, it does feel a bit stretched. The added scenes kind of slow down the momentum of the plot, and the addition of some characters from the Lord of the Rings trilogy feel kind of awkward. That brings us to our last segment, The Ugly. Now, maybe I'm nitpicking, maybe I'm getting old, but there are a few action scenes in this movie and in the past installment that just plain exhaust me. It's kind of like watching somebody else play a video game. It looks cool, but you're not connected to it at all. Now, Peter Jackson is brilliant at crafting action scenes with the precision of Rube Goldberg, but the scenes don't add anything to the narrative, and they actually come across as a little bit juvenile. But, like I said, maybe I'm just getting old. And besides, the novel of The Hobbit was intended for young people anyway. So, that's the Moondog's take on The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. So that's it for this time. I'll be back next time with another review on The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Alright, you're listening to Friday Night Boogie on R&J's Classic Mix. I'm the Amazing Moondog, and with me is...
Rockin' Randy.
Alright, Randy. Yeah, so we just heard Excitable Boy by Warren Zevon, our spotlight artist tonight, and that was the title track from Zevon's 1975 album of the same name, Excitable Boy. Also had some other great hits on it, which we're going to be hearing a little more from later. But now, just a couple of tidbits on Mr. Zevon. He actually was signed with a record label in the mid-'60s called White Whale Records, and he wrote several songs back then for the Turtles, including Like the Seasons and Outside Chance. And in 1969, he wrote a song called She Quit Me, which was re-recorded by a female singer and retitled He Quit Me, and was then featured on the soundtrack to the movie Midnight Cowboy. In the early 70s, he toured with the Everly Brothers, and also recorded material with both Don and Phil when they went their separate ways and released solo albums. So, we're going to be hearing some more from Mr. Zevon later, and now let's get back to the mix.
All right, Serena Ryder, Circle of the Sun. You're listening to R&J's classic music, and I hope you're listening to the tunes and grooving them and doing a little circle around the apartment or house, whatever, as you bop to our tunes. With me tonight, of course, is the famous
Moondog, babies.
Moondog. We want to thank you all again for joining us on a Friday night, Boogie, as we start the weekend off. Just going to keep you up to date on some NHL playoff action tonight. We do have one final. That was Philadelphia over the New York Rangers, 2-1. Elsewhere, Chicago and St. Louis in overtime now, so I'll keep you updated on that. And there's no score between Dallas and Anaheim, as it's a later start, and that's in the first period. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. Back to more music. This dead air brought to you by the silent folks at Silent Sam's.
Longest time. All right, so now we're going back to our spotlight artist tonight, who's Warren Zevon, the amazing storyteller himself, which is kind of the theme we're touching on tonight. And there's a good story behind the next song we're going to play. In 1975, Mr. Zevon moved to Spain, and he lived and played in a bar in Barcelona, owned by his friend, a man named David Lindell. And Lindell was a former mercenary and soldier for hire. Had a lot of stories to tell, and he told a lot to Zevon, and together they wrote this next song we're going to play called Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner. All right, so now we're going back to our spotlight artist tonight, who's Warren Zevon, the amazing storyteller himself, which is kind of the theme we're touching on tonight. And there's a good story behind the next song we're going to play. In 1975, Mr. Zevon moved to Spain, and he lived and played in a bar in Barcelona, owned by his friend, a man named David Lindell. And Lindell was a former mercenary and soldier for hire. Had a lot of stories to tell, and he told a lot to Zevon, and together they wrote this next song we're going to play called Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner.
Oh, mainstream radio is really scary, boys and girls. So stay tuned to R&J's Classic Mix. Music with bite.
All right, girls. Motley Crue. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. Friday Night Boogie Part 4. Rockin' Randy, and with me is the amazing Moondog. I hope you heard that. I want to thank you all for joining us on a Friday Night Boogie. As we said, Part 4. I'm just going to give you some updated NHL action. Chicago did beat St. Louis 3-2. That was in overtime. Yay, he says. Okay, we know who that fan is. Elsewhere, there was another final score. It was Philadelphia over the New York Rangers 2-1. And after one period of play out on the West Coast, it's currently Anaheim leading Dallas 2-1. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. Applause. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix, and that was a Floyd song. It wasn't Pink Floyd. It was a tribute band called Brit Floyd, and it goes with our Philosophizing with Floyd theme. Anytime you hear a Brit Floyd or a Pink Floyd song, or any song by Floyd, who does it, ask us questions that will philosophize and make us think about life and the universe and things like that. In fact, we do have a question tonight. Guess what the question is, Moondog?
What's that?
What is the best thing besides sliced bread?
Oh, that's a good one. I know I'm feeling a little sliced right about now. How about, I know. Best thing before there was sliced bread has to be bacon.
Bacon, your pardon?
Well, think about it. I mean, there was pigs long before people figured out how to make bread, I'm sure, and somebody ate a pig, and pigs taste good, bacon tastes good, like Samuel L. Jackson said in Pulp Fiction, so.
That's right.
Bacon.
So bacon came along, and then they had their bread. Wasn't sliced, so that everybody got big chunks, soak up more of that grease.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and get that, greasy taste to it, and then they sliced it up. Maybe that's why they start slicing it, because they can get up the bacon grease easier.
Yeah, I didn't put the bacon right on the sandwich. Slap 2 slices of bread together.
That sounds pretty good to me.
I'm just trying to think of things that were before sliced bread. Dinosaurs? No, they weren't better sliced bread.
Dinosaur bacon.
Hey, on Little House on the Prairie, did they have sliced bread? Did Laura Ingalls eat sliced bread?
Maybe. I'm pretty sure they had knives.
They had knives. Okay, so they sliced bread. Oh, okay, so... Well, cavemen had knives for a long time. Why didn't they think of slicing the bread instead of just going... Well, mind you, they probably didn't make bread back then, did they? Anyway...
They had to figure out the fire thing first so they could bake the bread.
Yeah, that's right. Bake the bread, that's right. Okay, they got the knife to kill something. Let's put some bread around it. How do we do that? Start a fire, idiot. And put that stupid dough in there. I don't know. Anyway, we digress. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix, and we're going to go back a couple years. This is a band that's not around anymore, but a great band called Morningwood, and this is their song called Jet Setter on R&J's Classic Mix.
Werewolves of London by our spotlight artist, Warren Zevon. And you're listening to the Moondog of K-Town and...
Rockin' Randy
on R&J's Classic Mix. So yeah, that was Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon, again, our spotlight artist. And hey, Rockin' Randy, did you know Mr. Zevon has a connection to Fleetwood Mac?
No, I didn't. Are you serious?
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I mean, old Moondog knows a lot about music, but he doesn't know everything. I have to look some of this stuff up. So anyway, for a while, Zevon lived in L.A. with Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham before they joined Fleetwood Mac. And later on, when he released his album Excitable Boy, which Werewolves of London was the track off of that album, Mick Fleetwood and John McVie also played on it. So there you go. Who knew?
Who knew? I'm impressed.
All right, let's get back to the mix.
In a second. Just want to give you guys a little tidbit. We do have a website that we've built. Right, yeah, and we put together for you. Now on the website, it's got all kinds of good things for you. We've got bios, and of course, you two DJs sitting here. We have a page dedicated to what we call the Legends of Classic. All the artists that contributed to music over the years that have died, and from all genres of music. We also have a support page on there, so if you can't find us through any other means, you can click on there. And you'll see all kinds of things and how to listen to different media players like Windows Media Player, iTunes, things like that. And we also, if you want to get your own radio station going, we also have some tips and advice and things to get you going like we've been doing. And other things on that, we also have what we call like a broadcast schedule. You can see the things that are coming up. Okay, but and as we digress a little bit, we want to thank you for joining us tonight on R&J's Classic Mix. And we hope you're enjoying the show, and thank you for continuing to listen.
To R&J's Classic Mix reminds me of a gathering of immortals. There can be only one choice for good music.
Precious, precious. No need to be sad and lonely. We have our classic mix. Oh, yes, we do. Precious.
By request, Billy Squire and The Stroke. You listen to R&J's Classic Music. It was Friday night, now it's Saturday AM. You listen to Friday Night Boogie Part 4, which now is turned into Saturday Morning Boogie Part 4.
Boogie, boogie, boogie.
Yeah, Boogie Boogie, and guess who that was? That was...
Moondog.
Moondog, yes, that's right. Thank you to all your listeners out there. And we just want to say that, yes, we do take requests, and that was... by request, obviously, so we play request. Am I ever smart, eh? I learned that in high school. But anyway, I digress. I just want to say we did mention that we have a website, and what I'm going to do is it's rather a long URL. I built the site through Wix.com, and so what I'm going to do is we have a contact form, and I'm going to put the link to it in our chat room, okay? And you can copy down there, or copy paste, however you can do it. But anyway, back to more music on R&J's Classic Mix, and a band with an original name,